Howdy. So today I'm going to show you how I use data warehouse MCPs to supercharge or drastically speed up my data analysis workflows. So MCPs, it's short for Model Context Protocol. It's a complex word for basically it's a tool that connects AI to other tools. And so in my case, a data warehouse MCP connects AI assistants like Claude or ChatGPT to a data warehouse like BigQuery. And then allows the AI to query that database, explore schemas, and run SQL and view the outputs of that SQL automatically. So this is a pretty good visualization. So I'll be using an IDE, but the IDE has a ChatGPT-like interface to ask the AI questions. And so I've connected that IDE, which is Cursor, to the BigQuery MCP so that when I am asking Claude questions about my data, it can just use the MCP tool to connect to BigQuery, run queries, and get the output of those queries. So a really common thing is ad hoc questions in data analysis. Maybe a sales manager comes to you and asks which categories are trending up versus down compared to last month, and you don't have a dashboard to direct them to. So you're going to have to write SQL to answer this question for them. And most of the time, or at least like right now, before I was using MCPs, I would be switching back and forth between prompting AI to write SQL while also giving it context on the data because the AI didn't have access to my data warehouse. And so I would ask AI a question, it would write some SQL, but then I would run that SQL in my data warehouse, like Studio, copy the output, send it back to AI. And so there's a lot of copy pasting so that the AI could understand the output of the SQL it was writing, as well as like context into all of the schema and column names, et cetera, and the values of the data in my data warehouse. So this was a very like inefficient way. And MCP eliminates this copy paste cycle. So I'm just going to answer this question. So I've got some data on for a retailer. They're a supplement retailer, so they sell a bunch of supplements and protein and creatine, etc. This is Cursor. So I have my files over here, and for example, I have this file on all of the data tables that are in my data warehouse. So I have stuff on orders and sales and shops, etc. So and this is just like a ChatGPT like interface. So I'm going to ask it which categories are trending up versus down compared to last month. Use the BigQuery MCP and read the codebase overview document to understand the schema and return an analysis in .md format in the agent analysis folder, just to keep things organized. So what it's going to do is it's going to understand my request, which is relatively simple. And it's first going to read the codebase overview document I have. It's going to run some queries to better understand the columns and values in these tables. It's checking the date range because I only have 90 days of data. And then it's going to start running comprehensive queries to understand category trends. And now it is going through January. Since January is not completed yet, it's the 13th. It's going to have to kind of understand how to do month to month trends for a month that is not completed. And now it is writing out a markdown summary of what it found. So typically this would take me, half a day to run queries, then write a short write-up of what I found. And this is now taking me 10 minutes, maybe. What I will do now is kind of check some of these queries. So for example, I will check this query here. It just gets January sales by category, which makes sense. Most of the time I don't have to check it too often, but it gives me a general output here by category, which is great. The percentage change and key insights. So let's look at the markdown file it created. So it looks like it used November and December instead of looking at January, which is fine. We could change that, but it quickly shares how many are trending up versus down. We have an overall decline in revenue from November to December, and it breaks it up into high growth versus moderate growth, and then what is trending down significantly versus just slightly. Which is really great. So this is just an example. Like you could just send this after just checking it a little bit for hallucinations. You could send this over to that sales manager. This just speeds up development so much. It's just kind of crazy how much MCPs help me with my work, and I'd love to know what y'all think. Cheers.